I recreated the War in the Pacific in LEGO and even built my own vehicles like this A6 M30 Model 22, as well as the Type 97 Chiha tank, and of course the Type 95 Hago tank, which was the most produced tank of the Japanese army during World War II. The opponent of this army are of course the American soldiers, which are supported by this M4A2 Sherman tank and a few infantry.
As this is the final episode of the 3-part series of me building the War in the Pacific, let me quickly show you what I have built in the first 2 episodes. In the first episode we focused at the Japanese minifigures in form of custom printed LEGO minifigures, and in the second video we focused at all the vehicles I've designed just for this MOC. And today is the moment where we all have been waiting for, the final episode of this project. As the final size of this build will be 6 32x32 base plates, we need to build 4 more in this video. And at the first one I've built a small trench, including a tiny Japanese bunker, which I've placed at an angle by using wedged plates. To attach the pre-built trench walls I've used modified bricks like usual. As the full MOC is raised at least 3 bricks, of course I had to add all of the plates and brickwork also at this base plate. Once this was done, I've started with the overall foliage at this part by using dark green plates and bush pieces for vegetation. Next I've surrounded the trench hole by using light tan wedged plates as well as curved plates and regular tiles, and added a small sandbag to protect our soldiers in there. After tiling the inner part of the trench, we could add 2 of our Japanese soldiers, and one of them is an officer armed with the typical Japanese sword. To have a better idea how the base plate will look like next to the other one, I first started raising the second one and then added all the tiling and foliage at both of them. If you're wondering why I built this whole MOC in a few modules, the reason is that I am in a new apartment and my space is limited, so I have to build them modular to store them right after the building. I have to say that it was definitely worth it buying way more dark green wedged plates, as I really like the natural look of all the dark green compartments in between the sandy area. Once the plate work was done, I've added plants in the colors of dark green and olive green because I think these just work wonderfully together. Besides that, I've tiled everything and added dark tan spots here and there and raised them by a little bit to add some more texture to the build. As the area at the right will be part of the airfield which is included in this build, I've decided not to include any dark green and dark tan spots right there, because it wouldn't make sense to have like dirt or something like that at this place, because the planes need a free area to land and take off. And here's already the final part of this second module for the build. Again, I've used tiles and plates to cover everything and added our typical plants at the dark green area. As it is pretty repetitive work raising these base plates, I thought not showing you this again, and already just started layering the dark green for the bigger area where our Type 95 tank will be placed in later. As I wanted to integrate more elevation in the terrain, I've decided to raise a few of the plates only by 2 bricks and then filled in all the gaps by using several plates. Of course, all of the rough plate work needed to be covered in the right colors of dark green and light tan. To create a smooth elevation, I've used a bunch of wedged plates as well as some smaller slopes like cheese slopes and the 1x2 curved slopes. The idea is to build a small pathway which leads through the 2 dark green areas where we can later add our M4A2 Sherman tank driving through there. And here is how the final 2 base plates look together right now. Of course, we still need to cover all of that dark tan area by using light tan as well as the dark green plant pieces, but let me quickly finish the roadway first. And as you can see, I've again incremented a big part of dark tan, as I at one side really like the contrast between all of the colors, and at the other side again we add some more texture to the build. Looking at this smooth elevation makes me really wonder wondering why I haven't included more of these parts in the full build, as I think this really adds a lot to the landscape and makes it look way more diversified. But hey, at least we complemented one of these elevations in the build, and now we just need to fill in all of the dark green plates, which actually was pretty annoying as I had to use a lot of these 1x1 plates in the final because I did run out of the bigger 4x8 and 2x4 plates. Once this annoying work was finally done, I've added the dark 10 roadway where our Type 95 tank will drive through. My plan is to surround this tank with a ton of foliage parts to perfectly cover it in there. Beside that, I've added 2 infantrymen behind the tank, and one of them is perfectly camouflaged as well. And finally, everything is prepared to start a huge foliage work, for which I've again used all the same pieces as I wanted to create a uniform look all over the MOC. I just love how you can slowly see that the tank is camouflaged in all of the plant pieces. This probably is one of my most favorite parts at the build for now. You know me, of course, we will also add trees all over the build, and as the Pacific is famous for palm trees, we built these. Using bar pieces as well as these bush pieces, I've then added this reddish brown clip piece and added all of the smaller palm leaves to it. I've repeated this step a few more times and built a total of 8 trees. Now we can finally add all of our vehicles, which you can, by the way, also buy at my web shop called bricksofvalor.de. Each purchase helps me funding the enormous costs of building these large-scale LEGO MOCs, so feel free to check the web shop if you want to support me in building more of these MOCs. After placing all of the vehicles, I've grabbed our freshly made palm trees and spreaded them all over the MOC. I've basically just stacked that bar piece through the foliage pieces. Let's bring this MOC alive and add all of our minifigures to the build. I've started with the US forces, adding one of the soldiers at the back of the 50 cal and 2 infantrymen. One of them is armed with the M1919 machine gun. This Japanese soldier is already heavily wounded by the impact of a grenade, but still is throwing his wand to the enemy. As these wooden towers were commonly used by the Japanese army, of course I've needed to build one for this MOC. I've used a bunch of bar pieces, tiles and regular plates to construct it, and as it was quite complicated I wasn't able to do this on camera, but I hope you understand, and let me quickly add our soldier right here. And the final detail is this wooden table where 2 Japanese pilots discussing their routes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me present you the final build of our series called War in the Pacific. The MOC displays a Japanese airfield which is heavily defended by Japanese infantry as well as light tanks. Unfortunately, they were spotted by several M4A2 Sherman tanks, which is the reason why one of the Japanese pilots is rushing to his Zero to protect it against enemy tanks. As the Japanese soldiers are waiting in every corner and bush, the US soldiers have to be very careful while raiding this camp. Beside the tanks and infantry, the airfield is also protected by this wooden tower as well as a small MG bunker. The Sherman tanks definitely were superior to the light Japanese tanks, but they were covered and waited in every corner for the enemy.
So here we are with the final build, with lots of details and of course also the ones you recommended in the comments down below, like a small bunker with a trench system, this wooden watchtower, of which I would never came up if you haven't commented this in the video. So you can see it's always important to give me some feedback because I will include it. Beside that, again, we have our tanks. The minifigures, the Japanese soldiers are all from the mini brick, so check this web shop also out if you want to have some cool minifigures. And of course all vehicles are from now on available at our online shop bricksofvalor.de, where you can get all of the tanks and of course the plane, which even includes that exclusive minifigure. So feel free to check that out. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.